Monday Night Football, New Orleans Saints at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs favored by 5.5. It's the 4-0 Chiefs against a 2-2 New Orleans Saints. Saints now have lost 2 straight, lost to the Eagles in week 3, and then the Falcons last week.
They went from the best team in the NFL to, are they even that good?
Just 2-2. Okay. Yeah. How much of that is Taysom Hill?
All right, give me your Taysom Hill theory.
Hold on. Do you have that? Did you send me that number?
I tweeted it at you, or did I? What's that? I sent it to you, and you were like, "Yeah, I think that's real."
They're using Taysom Hill really well. There it is. I was joking about in week 1. So like weeks 1 and 2, they averaged like 45 points a game, and then they averaged 13. Then they scored 12 or whatever it was against Philly, and it's like, wow, with Taysom, they're averaging 45. Without him, it's 12. But a guy named Steve Renner actually tweeted out.
That's a real person?
Steve Renner, yeah. It might be Mike's burner, but it's fine. Steve Renner has tweeted out the Taysom factor. Mm-hmm. And this year, the Saints have run 18 drives with Taysom Hill and 18 without. Without. We got a without Taysom Hill. The 18 drives with Taysom.
Yeah.
11 touchdowns. 11 out of 18 drives.
It's pretty good.
In touchdowns. And 4 field goals. So they've scored 15 out of 18 drives.
Mm-hmm.
Without, though, 2 touchdowns in 18 drives. 2 for 18 in 4 field goals. So you're looking at a scoring percentage, say, of 15 out of 18 with and 6 out of 18 without. It is a massive difference. And look, you and I have poo-pooed the idea that Taysom Hill is a game changer through the years. I was of the mind when they first started using Taysom Hill with the Saints, they still had Drew Brees. And I'm like, why would you take the ball out of Drew Brees' hands in the red zone? The dude, like, he's not a bad red zone quarterback. He's great because he's accurate, and that's all you really need, right? He's a great quarterback. Why waste downs for Taysom Hill? As the quarterback play got worse, I thought Taysom's ability to impact the game went up, right? Because Derek Carr's never really been a great red zone quarterback, so you put the ball into Taysom Hill's hands. And then you were of the mind that, hey, Taysom Hill has always been a great running back. They've called him a tight end. They've called him a quarterback. But is he better as a running back? And now they're using him as a fullback and as a running back, as the direct snap type of guy, which they've always done a little bit of that. He's looked like more of a game changer so far this year. And he'd have those games through the years where it's like he really made an impact. For whatever reason, this year in particular, Taysom Hill is making a massive impact on this offense.
The other part of that tweet is, so number one, he stripped out kneel down drive, so it's like for like. He also says he's confident that going back the last couple of seasons, the data is similar, though I haven't seen that actually.
There's no data to say
out.
it, so I don't believe that's true. I don't think it's that extreme.
I mean, I'm sure it's not that extreme, but his point is essentially that this is a trend that's longer than these 18 drives this season. Though, as I said, there's no evidence that he hasn't actually shown that anywhere, and nobody else has taken issue with it one way or the other. I mean, it is like he's a difficult matchup player, even if you call him, as I have, he's basically just a power back. I mean, he is a power back that can run routes, can catch, can block, can throw the ball. Like, he's a problem if you use him well and if you give him plays that potentially target weaknesses on defense. So it stands to reason that him being out there is a better thing than him not being.
I mean, I think there were other factors at play with this. The offensive line was healthier. At the same time, Taysom was healthier. Like, there were confounding factors. But Clearly the Saints, when Alvin Kamara has looked great this year as well. Like, last week, the run blocking wasn't as good, and he's still making things happen. I think a lot of those things have come together. Derek Carr, of course, is playing better football this year than he did for the majority of last year, other than what he did down the stretch. So there's a lot to like still about where the Saints are. My concern is going to be that offensive line health against this Chiefs defensive front. I mean, the Chiefs, they started this last year. They have morphed into a defense and field position type of team. It sounds crazy with a Patrick Mahomes-led team, and Mahomes had the bomb to Xavier Worthy last week. But that's kind of what they've morphed into, right? They kick a lot of long field goals with Harrison Butker. They play field position. They're down 10-0 last week because of turnovers only, and the defense is like, nope, nothing else. We're not giving up anything else. You highlighted, you looked at that play last week where Herbert was dropping back in the end zone in the scheme that Kansas City had blitz-wise. I'm going to keep an eye on that for sure. The Chiefs have the second best EPA per play against when blitzing. It's almost minus 0.4 per play. And the Saints have been really good against the blitz as far as their pass game goes. Can they sustain Spags? I mean, look, we've talked up Brian Flores quite a bit, and he's done a fantastic job. But hasn't Spags been doing the same job the last couple years, knowing exactly when to drop out, knowing exactly when to blitz? And it seems like every single game, when it's on the line, Spags has a blitz that isn't picked up, that is making the game-changing play for the team, whether it's a batted pass in the Super Bowl, whether it's hitting Justin Herbert square in the end zone when he's dropping back on the biggest play of the game. So can the Saints handle Spags and the blitz in this one?
Yeah, I mean, these are two good defensive coordinators, two good defensive coaches that I think are going to be like, which one of them can create a turnover, which one of them can create a really big negative play from the offense. Like, sort of the Rashee Rice factor is going to be a big deal. Like, it wasn't huge last week, but the Chiefs only scored 17 points, and one of them was that bomb to Xavier Worthy, right?
Yep.
Like, if that doesn't show up this week, and even, you know, we talked about it with Rashid Shaheed on the other side for the Saints, right? The first couple of weeks, they were hitting a ludicrous percentage of those deep shots to Rashid Shaheed. What happens if that disappears, or if they just miss one or two more of those? And that's exactly what happened, right? Those dried up. Same thing with Worthy, right? If you get one of those shots a game and you miss it, suddenly that's a tied football game, right?
Yeah.
It's just a different game. So Rashee Rice, remember, he basically rescued them last season. Their receiving core was awful. They didn't have any talent. They weren't able to do much. And then Rashee Rice emerged as their number one wide receiver and really gave them somewhere to go with the football on a regular basis into the playoffs. Then Travis Kelce shows up, and it's a different team. Now, Rice is gone. Okay, you have this new receiver in Xavier Worthy, but, you know, either you need to figure out a way of getting one or two big deep shots to him per game, or you need to somehow work him into being a much heavier volume player within this offense, or Travis Kelce needs to show up and be that guy again. But, like, you know, if they don't figure out a way of reworking all this, this is going to remain a sort of struggling, low-scoring offense because they've lost their number one receiver.
Why do you think they've morphed so much into, you know, Mahomes having this average depth of target of barely over 5? Why do you think they've morphed into that? Is it because that's Rashee Rice's skill set? Are they playing to the skill sets of their players, or is it the league? Or, you know, again, Mahomes has not been a great deep ball thrower for about 3 years now. And it's not like he hasn't had opportunities. Marquez Valdes-Scantling would get behind the defense. The last couple of weeks, though, he hit Rashee Rice on a nice throw against the Bengals on a bomb, hit the unbelievable. I mean, this was the best throw Mahomes had in 3 or 4 years to Worthy. But was Rashee Rice a big factor in why they became such a dink and dunk type of offense?
Yeah.
And so now, again, to your point, is it now we need Travis Kelce to replace Rashee Rice, and we know that the defense can give him a lot of attention? Or is it, okay, now we have to stretch the field more. Xavier Worthy doesn't have the same skill set as Rice, so we're going to have to take more deep shots. We're going to become a different offense without him.
I mean, they trade away Tyreek Hill, who obviously created a ton of those deep shots. They didn't replace him with anybody really that can do that. So the team naturally pivoted to a more horizontal, chain-moving type of system. Rashee Rice, like, it's not like they drafted him. They didn't draft him, you know, in the first round ready to come in and become their number one receiver. They drafted this guy later than that, and it's sort of, oh, look, here, he can actually do this if we use him as a slot guy, as a yards after the catch guy, you know, get the ball in his hands more. They sort of figured out, they almost stumbled into the way he could, you know, drag this offense further forward than it had been before he'd been a big part of it. And they lent into that smartly. But so now they need to basically do the same thing, right? Figure out how Xavier Worthy can be a big part of this offense, because now you need him to be.
I think Derek Carr's played a lot of games against the Chiefs, and when they've been close to pulling the upset, he usually plays his best football. And I think there's an aggressiveness. With Carr, I'm always watching the aggressiveness factor. When he's feeling confident like he was earlier in the year, throwing the ball down the field, I think they have a chance to be a very, very good offense. I'm concerned about the injuries up front, not having Eric McCoy.
Right.
I'm concerned about this offensive line against the Chiefs' defensive front. But.
Just one more factor, by the way, for the Chiefs. Okay, what if your offense changes and now you're going to have a bunch of deep shots per game to Xavier Worthy? This is the lowest time to throw in Mahomes' career so far through the first few games. He's now got, Wanye Morris or Kingsley Suamataia at left tackle. If they ever go back to the rookie, or Juwan Taylor at right tackle. I don't know that they have the same degree of confidence in the tackles that they have in previous years, and those are the plays that you need that in, right?
Yeah.
Do we want to hang him out there for 2.5, 3 seconds on a deep shot to wait for this play to uncover? Can we do that with the players we have at offensive tackle? I think that might be part of the dynamic.
I should have done that. Remind me to do this, but last year the Chiefs' offense did get worse when Donovan Smith got hurt and Wanye Morris came in as a rookie. And then guess who came back for the playoffs? Donovan Smith. Offense was effective again. The without splits, veteran offensive tackle versus rookie or second-year offensive tackle, I think is going to be drastic if you look at EPA, because the Chiefs are middle of the pack as an offense this year. And it's always had, either Wanye or Suamataia. So that is definitely a factor as well. It's in Kansas City. I just think 5.5 for the Chiefs in KC with the crowd noise and everything. Where are you going with this one?
I will go with the Chiefs.
I was leaning New Orleans to keep it close, but I don't know, man. I'll take the Chiefs again. I think Andy Reid is the best at playing to his personnel. Yeah. He is the best at playing to his personnel, and I don't think he needs more than a week to figure out how to use this personnel differently.
And we said, I think they've already figured out ways of unlocking Worthy versus just a couple of weeks before. They've got a better understanding now of what he needs to be doing and how to get him free of physicality and all those kinds of things.
All right. I'll take the Chiefs to cover the 5.5. I don't think they're great against the spread, though, so far this year.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.